I'm a medical doctor by training, have been in longevity for a very long time. I've been running a few tech companies in the past, and now I run a human cryopreservation company called Tomorrow Bio. So longevity kind of divides into healthspan and lifespan, people kind of, at least, right? So whereas healthspan is very important, my personal motivation was always on lifespan. Like, how can we have people live as long as they want while being healthy? Now, the while being healthy stuff, that is like a lot of people working on it. You already see the first results, whereas the living longer side is still very much not covered. Right? So with human cryopreservation, we're working on how to enable people to live longer, or more precisely, live again in the future once it is possible to actually live longer. I mean, for me personally, I just really like life, right? I'm really personally not happy with death, right? I would even say afraid of death by all intents and purposes, for all intents and purposes. So, and in my mind, ideally, in an ideal world, right, everybody should be able to decide how long they would like to live. If people say, hey, I don't want to live anymore, that's fine as well. But even if someone says, they're 80 and they would say, hey, I would like to live another 20 years or 50 years or 100 years, that should be very much their right as well. And of course, medically, that's not possible right now. So cryopreservation is kind of a way of how to get to that world where, people don't need to die. They can just choose how long they would like to live, which I would say is, from a moral perspective, the way it should be. So kind of cryopreservation doesn't solve death. It just gets people to a time, kind of as a bridging technology. It gets you to a time where the rest of the medical field and scientific discoveries and all of that, once that has advanced enough to solve death, right? So the reason why I work on that is because probably, apart from if we get artificial superintelligence anytime soon, we will have a very hard time solving death until everybody who's alive today will be dying, right? So, and I very much hope I'm wrong there. I very much hope that I never need to be cryopreserved, because now there's the pill that I can take and now that solves death, right? But statistically speaking, if the history is any indication, I think this will be it's very unlikely. So the only thing that cryopreservation gives you, it's a stopgap measure, it's a backup, it's a bridging technology that gets you to a time when the rest is solved. Right, so I said I'm happy to work on the backup. If it's never needed, happy about it. But then again, there's people dying every day, right? At least they will need it, even if longevity technology and solving death will be possible in 20 or 30 years. Cryopreservation is something where you say, should I die, I would rather be cryopreserved than I want to be cryopreserved instead of cremated. So you do it at the time of death, right? So let's say you have a terminal condition, right? And you call us, you're signed up with us, you say, hey, I might die. Unfortunately, doctors have told me I might die in the next weeks. Then we send one of our medical teams to the patient. It would wait in front of the hospital until the doctors say, this person has legally died. Now we jump into action immediately. What we do now chest compressions, we give oxygen, everything that you would for CPR, but not to revive the person, but just to protect the brain, give the brain oxygen and protect it from degradation. And while we do this, we start cooling down. And the lower you cool, the slower the metabolism runs. So the slower on a cellular level the cells die. And now when you cool down further and further and further, before we go under 0 degrees Celsius, we replace the blood and the water in the body against the cryoprotective agent, which allows us to then keep the body in this state without ice crystals for, it doesn't matter, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, it does not matter. To wait until medical technology has advanced enough in the future to bring the person back and cure the disease and, elongate their life. We have teams in the US here, we have teams in Europe. Teams means doctors, perfusionists, ambulances, or mobile operating rooms more precisely. But if you die on some island, we would still fly to you. We send a so-called flight kit, a flight team to you that would pick you up there. It's not ideal, right? But then again, statistically speaking, people don't die on islands. Statistically speaking, they die in a hospital because they have, cancer or cardiovascular diseases or whatever. But no matter how you die, we still get you as quick as possible. First of all, there's very few cryopreservation organizations in the world. I would say there's like 4 relevant ones in the world, right? Now, the biggest difference, I would say, is in our case is quality of preservation, likely. So we have more medical teams, right? As again, we have like 6 teams right now. We're going to add 2 more, meaning more medical teams allow you to be faster with the patient. Being faster with the patient allows you to improve the quality of preservation. And then how we do the preservation, specifically what cryoprotective agent we use, how we cool down, all of that. At least in the quality data that we have released in January this year, on average, we're better than the others. And I hope the others also release quality data and show similarly good quality. That would be great. But I think that's the biggest difference right now. There's also a smaller difference, like it's much faster to sign up with us. It's very easy to sign up with us. It's easy to push the people to kind of make this last step of actually doing it after having decided to do it. So there's a couple smaller differences, but the big one is quality and logistics network. In our case, it's currently underground, or the people who are cryopreserved, they're underground in Switzerland. Switzerland being chosen to be a very stable and very safe country, right? And hopefully is going to be stable and safe for the next, decades and hundreds of years if need be. That's where patients are currently in cryo state. So we have around close to 1,000 people signed up, and now luckily most of these people are relatively young, so hopefully they're not going to die anytime soon. But the first ones needed us already, so now we have like around 20 people cryopreserved in Switzerland, plus 10 or so pets. Right, so there's 2 parts of the cost. So when you sign up with us, there's a €50 or $55 monthly subscription fee. Plus, at the time when you die, there's a one-time payment of either €200,000 or $220,000. Now, for most people, they don't pay this out of pocket. Almost everybody, we have a large life insurance partner. When they sign up with us, they take out life insurance, and then that life insurance policy pays out to us. So with that life insurance model, it is technically already available for everybody, right? Meaning, on average, if I'm not mistaken, people pay around 80 to 100 euros or dollars per month to have the life insurance and to have our service. So sure, it's $100 a month, which is relevant amounts, but then again, for a lot of people, it is affordable if they want to do it. So, don't pay the money. No one pays $220,000 to us, right? They take out life insurance and then that pays it. And over time, we very much hope that we can make it more affordable. In the end, I would like to achieve that everybody can choose how long they would like to live, right? And I definitely I want that for me as well, right? And that's the end goal. Now, assuming that will be very technologically difficult, and again, without artificial superintelligence, we will probably not achieve that in time. As an intermediate step, I want to achieve perfect cryopreservation. So I do a good amount of stuff, but I don't swear by anything. Meaning, I think all of this stuff will unfortunately currently still has a very low effect. So I eat healthy, I go to the gym, I sleep very well. All the URA crowns that you can get. I take a good amount of supplements. I do a good amount of preventive stuff, like taking whole body MRIs, blood tests, genome sequencing, all of the preventive stuff that you can do. But to be fair, I mostly do them to just avoid any weird off-chance cancer that I might have, right, that I don't notice, to notice it early and then have it operable. Honestly, I don't think this will allow me to live much longer, but at least it will allow me to hopefully live long enough until I have cryopreservation perfected.